What's up, YouTube? Back at you with another video. We're here with the Snowfall Season 6, Episode 1 and 2 reaction recap. Basically, I'm just going to give my thoughts on some of the things that happened in the episode that made an impression on me, that I have some thoughts on, the characters and so on and so forth. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Alright. So first of all, I'm going to start with Jerome. Now, I've lost a massive amount of respect for Jerome between season 5 and season 6. Now, there's nothing wrong with wanting to, build on your own and not constantly riding someone else's coattails, but there's a way that you go about it. I didn't get a chance to, recap and skim through season 5 before season 6, so a lot of my, memory about what happened in season 5 is kind of patchy. But from what I remember is that, Jerome and Louie stabbed Franklin in the back. And the thing is, that just goes to show that family doesn't really count for much, and 9 times out of 10 it really be your own people that is going to do you most dirty. So in the episode, they're trying to get back the money that Franklin stole from them, right? And I don't even remember the girls' names. Like, I don't remember the names of the girls that work for Franklin, but those two, I guess they're sisters or some shit. And he kills the one of them. And my issue with that is he didn't have to do that shit, because I think it was pretty apparent that they had no idea, where the money was stashed. Because the thing is, if I'm Franklin, or if I'm in charge, if I tell my underlings where the money is at, all my enemy has to do is go and attack my underlings and squeeze them for the money is at, pretty much like he did. So it's a liability. So the fact that they really didn't know and he beat her to death anyway, to me that's pretty fucked up, and that just goes to show who Jerome is. And I think his character is just taking a turn for the worst over and over and over again. And the thing is, it's like he cares about his family, but it's like he doesn't. And I feel like Jerome's biggest issue on this show is really Louie. And I'm not being like a misogynist, I'm not being a sexist or none of that, but a man's biggest downfall, or one of them, is the woman that he loves. That is a fact. Because the way that it's been set up between season 5 and season 6 is that Louie is really the brains of the operation. And Louie is the one that generally makes all the decisions, in their relationship and in their business. Because again, Jerome doesn't go with Louie to go meet with Reed. She goes by herself. So if Jerome was all that important to their operation and what they got going on from a decision-making aspect, then he would be there too. He doesn't need to be there, right? So it's just like he's just the muscle, and he doesn't really think for himself. And I think maybe not right now, but eventually there's gonna be something that happens between Jerome and Louie, because eventually Jerome is gonna have to start thinking for himself. I think and Jerome doesn't think. Jerome just feels. He thinks that he's thinking, but he's really just feeling. And a lot of what he does is motivated by emotions and feelings. Because who put the battery in his back to go and kill? Again, I forgot their names. Damn, hold on. Let me try to find out their names real quick. Hold up. Yeah, all right. I'm sorry. Yeah. So for whatever reason, I don't know their names and I can't find it. But the point I'm making is, the reason why he did something so crazy is because, and Louie knew what she's doing, because she and I'm gonna get to Louie in a minute, but she knows exactly how to manipulate and control Jerome. So what she said right after he got off the phone with Franklin, when Franklin was like, yeah, I'm not giving you back the money, so do what you're gonna do, she was like, yeah, the last time I saw Franklin, he pulled a gun on me, and if that crooked ass cop didn't show up, he probably would have killed me. And I think, from what I remember in that episode, he did pull the trigger, or did he pull the trigger? I don't know. Yeah, but he was gonna kill her, like, honestly. And the thing is, at this point, I don't blame Franklin, because Franklin has tried so many times on several occasions to try to bridge the gap with these people, and then at every single turn they slapped him in the face. So everything that is happening on this show, as far as conflict is concerned between, you know, the family, it's all Jerome and Louie's fault. And I think eventually they're going to have to or Jerome is going to have to start thinking for himself. And Scully, here's the very significant part. This is the most significant part, and it caught my eye. When Jerome and Louie went to go see Scully, who is like a hippie now, which is kind of funny. He gave them an origami figure, like I forgot what it's called, but like the bird origami figure, and he was basically saying, I don't remember what he said verbatim, but I'm paraphrasing. He said that, you know, this is gonna protect y'all from karma or some shit like that, because he's warning them. He's like, yo, patch things up with your family, because shit's gonna catch up to you. Because he was like, yo, the shit that y'all doing, it's in your best interest for you to just squash it, but if you keep going, some shit's gonna happen. And he gave Jerome and Louie an origami figure, right? And as Jerome and Louie were walking out, they were talking about Jerome meeting up with Sissy and Franklin. And clearly Louie didn't like that. And in the midst of that conversation, before they got in the car, they made a point to show her dropping that origami figure. So meaning, two things are gonna happen. Louie's either going to kill Jerome or cut ties with him in some way, shape, or form, and they're gonna go their separate ways, which to me, I feel like is inevitable, and I'm predicting that now. Or everything that Louie has done so far is going to catch up to her, and I honestly believe that it is, because I can blame Jerome for being weak, because as strong as he comes off, Jerome is actually one of the weakest characters on the damn show, because he doesn't think and all he does is feel. It's gonna catch up to either one of them. You know what I'm saying? And I'm willing to bet that it's Louie, because again, she's the criminal mastermind behind that whole thing. And she's the puppeteer as far as a lot of these things going on. So that's my thoughts on Jerome. Kane. Now, from what I remember from season 5, I remember really liking the way that they set up and introduced Kane's character. And it's almost disappointing, because I feel like his character should not be limited to the hospital. You know what I'm saying? Because he seemed like that one guy that could take Franklin out in a heartbeat if he wanted to. Because he seemed like not only is he a tough, you know, gangster dude, but he's also a thinker and a chess player. And I don't remember exactly what happened, you know, from top to bottom. But I remember being like, yo, like he seems like, you know, the next big bad. And then what happened? You know, Louie set him up to get shot, and then now he's stuck in the hospital. And then he's saying in the hospital bed, like, yo, I don't even know if I'm gonna walk again. And as I'm watching that, I'm like, damn, because he's actually a good character. Like, he seemed to pose like a really big threat to, again, the goals that Franklin had. You know what I'm saying? And I hope eventually, by some stroke of miracle, that he can make it out of the hospital, because I think he's a great character. And as far as the relationship between him and Franklin, I think it's on thin ice. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that, you know, he's bedridden, and he's like, yo, my life might not ever be the same over this bullshit. And you withholding information from me, I might turn around and get at your ass, because you're not telling me who shot me, or you're not telling me where they're at. But the thing is, Franklin really doesn't know, you know, where they are, because if he does, then he could just use, you know, Kane to knock them off. Like, he could just get them to do the he can just get Kane to do the work. And it's to the point where Jerome and Louie, they're actually worried, because it's not really, they haven't really showed it yet, but it seems like, again, Kane's got a lot of firepower, and I hate that, you know, he's just stuck in the hospital and he's just that type of character. I think his character just deserved a lot better from a writing perspective, and I hope we get to see him, you know, do a lot more on the show, Ben, instead of him just being a side character. Because again, the way it was, that scene where he was at like a football game, and then Leon and Franklin went to go meet with him, and then he just had, again, that swag, that persona, that vibe, that aura, that's just like, yo, this dude could be like the biggest threat on the damn show, you know, aside from Reed, obviously. So anyway, moving forward in season 6, I hope that we could see a lot more from this dude, because again, the way that they set him up at the end of season 5, it looked like he was going to do a lot of damage, and I want to see that happen, you know, against Louie and freaking Jerome. So that's my thoughts on Kane. Reed. Look, I never thought too much of him, really. I think, and there was a point where when I first started watching Snowfall a couple of years ago, I used to literally skip all the Reed and Gustavo scenes and all the side characters, and I used to just only focus on Franklin's storyline because that's what's most interesting. But Reed is on his way out. You know, I don't know if he's gonna die, but he doesn't have nearly as much power as he used to have on, you know, the show. Because on the show before, he was just this next dude, and now he's really kind of struggling to maintain control of a situation that he used to have down pat, and now he doesn't. I don't like him, and I hope, you know, if there's a character that dies, I hope it's Reed. Gustavo. I like Gustavo, and I respect him, but Gustavo seems like a guy that, like, ultimately he's always going to have his own best interest at the end of the day. Because when he met up with Franklin at that, you know, luchadores freaking wrestling match and shit like that, they were trying to, you know, come to an agreement as far as how each one of them is going to further their own end. So meaning Franklin is after Reed, and then Gustavo's after the other government dude. I don't even remember, you know, his name. And, you know, Franklin's like, all right, I'll give you 10 million, but you got to give me Reed first. And then Gustavo's trying to, you know, say, nah, you give me, you know, that dude first, and then I help you get Reed. But mind you, Gustavo's in cahoots with Reed. So that's why it's like Gustavo, he's just going to look out for his own best interest. I don't even know why Franklin is even talking to the guy, because I know that they both saved each other's lives, but, you know, them days is over. You know what I'm saying? Things are different now. So if I was Franklin, if it doesn't serve me at all to, you know, be working with this dude behind the scenes, then, you know, I'm not even gonna do it, because ultimately Gustavo's gonna be like, what does he say? He's gonna just be like, hey, sorry, my friend, and then, like, you know, Franklin's just gonna get shot by Reed or some shit like that. So I predict that Gustavo is gonna be doing some, you know, funny suspect stuff down the line, and I'm calling it now. Louie. The only other character on TV that I can think of that I like, that I dislike as much as Louie is Tariq St. Patrick from freaking Power. They're the only two characters that it's like when I look at them, I just can't stand them at all. Like, I just don't like Louie. I think, you know, somebody had to be the villain, and it was her, but the way that she went about it is, you know, again, completely the wrong way. And she's pulling a lot of strings that she shouldn't be pulling, and she's pushing a lot of buttons that she shouldn't be pushing. And I get the sense, because she doesn't really have the same confidence that she had in season 5. You could just tell, like, in a lot of moments, she's not smiling, she's not grinning, and she's a lot more worried. And it's because she knows that some shit is gonna happen, and when it does, it's gonna happen to her. Out of everybody, she's going to get that moment where she's gonna get shot. They're gonna show it in slow motion, and then the Louie story is over finally, and I can't wait for that. But again, it's pretty obvious that Jerome, as much as they love each other, for what she wants to become and who she wants to be, eventually he's going to be a loose end that she's going to get rid of. She's going to stab him in the back. And when she does, Jerome is going to be hurt. That man is going to be massively hurt, because she does not love Jerome as much as he loves her. That is a fact. Because if Jerome had to sacrifice himself for Louie, he would do it in a heartbeat. If Louie had to sacrifice herself for Jerome, she wouldn't do it. She wouldn't do it. You know how they say, you know, don't like jump off a bridge for somebody who wouldn't even cross the street for you? That's that situation, and I'm getting that feel. Again, once you drop that origami piece, because a lot of times they drop a lot of gems and like Easter eggs and stuff and little clues in episode 1. So it's like in Power, they already said that Mecca in book 2 was a snitch in episode 1. When they introduced the character, Kane says, "Oh, yo, you smell like a snitch, or you smell like a narc." What happened in the very last episode? It turns out that he was a snitch. Or the last 2 episodes, it turned out he was the go to global snitching. So once that origami piece dropped, something's gonna happen between those two, and it just lends itself to the fact that Louie is just a horrible character. You know, a beautifully written character, but just again a horrible character. But much respect to the actress, you know, that does it, because you know she seems like a really nice lady. So those are my thoughts on Louie. She's not making it out of season 6 alive, and there's a lot of characters that are not making it out alive in this season, and she's one of them. Franklin. Now, aside from Damson Idris, you know, dating Lori Harvey, you know what I'm saying, you know, my future girlfriend and stuff like that, you know, dancing address.
Son, Damson Idris.
Who are you talking about?
Damson Idris from Snowfall. He is the.
You know who that is?
You don't know who Damson is?
No. Damson Idris? What show? Snowfall?
They compare Damson to Denzel all
You don't know who it is either?
I do.
Well, off record.
No disrespect, Damson. No disrespect, Damson.
Off record, I'm gonna put you on.
You know, no disrespect, Dancing. No disrespect, Dancing. But you know, eventually it's gonna be my turn.
Thank you.
And he is really making an impact on your life.
Is he making an impact on her life or your life?
So, what makes your relationship so special?
You know, we just really balance each other, and I really do believe in this statement, you know, when they say, when you know, you know. Mm-hmm. And I think that really applies to our situation. And, you know, we just have a really good time together. He's so sweet, very attentive, you know.
No disrespect, Dancing. This guy, he's a great actor. Like, I will say that. Like, on this show really does a great job in, you know, showcasing his talents. And what I really liked about Franklin is that when you look at how he evolved, you know, between season 1 and season 6, you really see all that growth. Even in the scenes when he's not saying anything, like let's say when they went to the museum so he can meet up with that agent dude, and just him like not saying anything, he's saying a lot by not saying anything. And from an acting standpoint, to be able to communicate without saying a damn thing, that is like a skill that, again, not a lot of actors have, and he has it. Just like the way that he emotes, the way that he talks, the way that he doesn't talk, the way that he's walking, his energy. You could just feel, you know, how he's feeling just by watching him. And again, like, all respect to, you know, Damson, you know, for what he's doing on the show, or for what he's done on the show thus far, because it's very entertaining. The highlight of episode 2 was when Franklin and Jerome, they had that exchange, and to me it was just like the accumulation of everything that they've been through, because what Jerome says to Franklin, he's just, you know, telling them how, you know, he took pride in raising Franklin, you know, like just how Sissy came, you know, to California, you know, saying where they're from. And how, you know, then all of a sudden, you know, Franklin popped up, and him wanting to raise him up and big him up into being, you know, somebody, you know, that of some sort of character and, you know, respect. And then, you know, Franklin just turns around. And Jerome just turns around and tells him, like, yo, like, how did I mess up so bad? Like, he's like, looking at you right now, how did I mess up so bad? And it's just like, man, it was like just a juxtaposition of feelings, because you see when Jerome is talking to him about, you know, raising him and being a part of raising him, Franklin is affected by that, and it's complicated. Like it's like a gamut of complex emotions that are going on, because you see Franklin looking away, and it almost looked like he was gonna cry, because it's just like, yo, like, how did things get so bad? And then for him to just be like, yo, you turned out to be a piece of shit. To me, I think it wasn't fair, because it's like, dog, everything that's happening is because of you. Because Franklin told him the truth. He's like, yo, I'm the one that put you on. I put you on. Because Franklin had his own thing going on. He didn't have to include Jerome, but he did. So where they are right now, it's all because of Franklin. Franklin was the leader. Like, Franklin made all the decisions for a very long time, and they were the ones that were listening to him. It's just after a certain point, once it started touching a certain amount of money, they felt like they didn't have to listen to him anymore. So I thought that wasn't fair. And just the climax of that situation, of that conversation, to me was just, again, a marvel to look at because I'm an actor. So just watching Eamon Joseph and Damson Idris, you know, going ahead and you know, having that exchange and doing it like so. To me, it was just a masterclass of acting. Like it was just a true masterclass. So Eamon Joseph, you know, Jerome, shout out to you, and Damson, much respect, Damson. No disrespect, Damson. V, I think what's funny is because I thought that her character was going to be the one to cross Franklin for some reason. There was just something about her that, I don't know, it was just kind of mysterious, but again, you know, it ended up being Louie. I just like how her character is supporting Franklin and just submitting to his leadership. So it's like a lot of the decisions that he's making, even if she doesn't agree, she's supporting him and she's being there for him, especially at a time like at this time in his life right now, at this stage and what's happening in the story. He needs that, because if she wasn't there, Franklin would be, you know, going crazy. He would just be straight Rambo. But I think she's balancing him out. And another thing, I'm not sure why everybody is calling, you know, Veronique ugly, or the actress that plays her ugly. She's not ugly. She's not my type, but she's not an eyesore. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not sure why a lot of people are saying that, because I don't agree. I've seen a lot of people saying that. I don't know if they expected him to be in a relationship, you know what I'm saying, with some, you know, Instagram model looking chick, but it don't work like that. Like, you gotta understand, like this is a show, this is a period piece. So this is back in the day. Like girls were not really walking around looking like that. So, you know, I'm gonna just say that. Also her mother, which I didn't really understand who her mother is, you know, 100%. I gotta go back and watch the episode. But I will say that her mother definitely was giving off Soul Glow vibes. You know, Shorty had the Jerry curl, you know, to the 10th power. So I thought that was interesting. But anyway, I'm excited to see what happens, you know, moving forward in season 6. I think I'm pretty spot on in some of my predictions, you know, relative to, again, how other, you know, stories have played out. So yeah, be sure again to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.
Good luck.